Hey guys! That was terrifying. But we're just gonna go with it because I want to go in one go. So, first the Nietzsche essay, if I'm even saying it right. It was very dense. I found it very hard to read. I read it probably over 100 times, not even gonna lie. Especially, trying to pick out like repetitions and strands. I kind of noticed things as I was, for the strands, I noticed things as I was counting like my repetitions because I had to go through to recount all 20 throughout the whole 8 pages. So I read it over 100 times. Even after reading it, I noticed so much when watching the podcast that I had actually missed, which I found insane because I kind of thought by the time I was done reading it, I would have, because I read it so many times, I would have, understood everything I saw. But there were still new ideas. Even in today's SI session, there was things that I didn't even notice. I found it like really interesting just how deep his disdain for humans was and how much he emphasizes the point of like, we're not the center of the universe, like we weren't here first. They're like other people created things, like don't like like you're not the person that created everything. Like stop thinking so highly of yourself. The first realization that I actually made myself was the cosmic, like, theme throughout the whole essay, basically, because he mentions the stars a lot. Like, and in the beginning, when he talks about, how, like, the solar system, I see, the stars cooling and congealing, astrologers consider the stars, clever beasts had to die, which entities did not exist. Okay, so that basically sets the tone for what he's going to talk about in the beginning, and it made it seem like it was going to be like this fairy tale type of thing. Meanwhile, he obviously was not having no fairy tale. It was just overall a very, like, I feel like every part of what he said had its own meaning. So it was definitely an interesting read. I found also that the outlook of the leaves was very compelling because we do refer to all the leaves as the same and don't actually like take the time to account for each one's differences, even though they all are different. So that was just something to note. Like, obviously he's, well, I would take it as he's talking about like each person is different in their own sense, and not everyone appreciates that. Okay, so now chapter 11. Oh my goodness, changed my life. I never thought of writing a thesis like this. 3 ideas, last sentence in the intro paragraph. That's my idea of thesis. It's honestly so smart though. Like, obviously the person who created it was smart, but like, I don't know, it just amazes me. The idea of like starting like weak, kind of. I hate to say weak because like you shouldn't start weak, but like, not the full product in the beginning, and then giving evidence and building that thesis till you finally come to the conclusion where you had like your full developed thesis, Okay, so chapter 11, I picked the quote, your concluding paragraph should offer the more carefully qualified and evolved version of your thesis that the body or your paper has allowed you to arrive at. Rather than just summarize and restate what you said in your introduction, the concluding paragraph leaves readers with what you take to be your single best insight. Something I noticed about this is that it's basically saying to start weak, but make sure you end strong. Also, that your body has to contain evidence that will only help strengthen your thesis. So it's significant to notice this because if you do not have strong evidence in your body, it will only end up hurting your thesis in the end because your conclusion will be weak. The passage implies that you have to have a strong body with lots of evidence that further supports your claim. By using the word evolved, the passage is trying to tell you that the weak thesis you originally started with is going to blossom and become thoroughly developed by the time you reach your conclusion. The passage, however, fails to acknowledge what happens if your body hasn't built up to that evolved thesis, which could, however, be the case. If you, especially when you're new at writing like this, you're definitely going to make the mistake of choosing that easy evidence that kind of just basically states what you're trying to say. Meanwhile, that's the total opposite of what you're trying to do. But you're going to try and take the easy way out because in high school, that's what we did. This passage relates to the work as a whole perfectly. It tells you how your conclusion is supposed to be sculpted, while the rest of the work focuses on the intro and body with the idea of how to keep the thesis flowing throughout the whole essay. This passage does relate to writing analytically. I can't remember if it was chapter 1 or 2. I'm pretty sure it was chapter 1. The breaking, which revolves around the breaking from the 5-paragraph format. In 5-paragraph, your thesis is structured in order and place, yet now this chapter focuses on how to break from that and keep your thesis flowing throughout the whole essay instead of in that introduction. The passage relates to our world today because many children have trouble breaking from the 5-paragraph format, which is obviously still taught in many elementary, middle, and high schools. This shows them what a proper conclusion should look like. So that's how it relates to today. The passage helps us think differently about writing because it allows us a new outlook on how a conclusion should look compared to what we have been taught in the past. So, definitely a lot of changes that we're going through. But, I don't know, I feel like it's going to be fun to learn to write like this because it's definitely going to sound less, it's still going to be formal, but look like less formal by like, you know, like that breakdown that the 5 paragraphs gives you. I don't know. I just think it's going to look 10 times better. I do not have an idea for my music video yet, so that will be all for this video, but I hope you enjoyed and I sparked something maybe if you had not uploaded your video yet. Bye.